Welcome into the newest episode of Side Mission. Like always, I'm your host, Rusty Ellis, joined now by all three of the other boys, Kyle, Thacker, and Matt. And today, on this episode, because we've got a lot of episodes coming soon, because we're all in town and we're recording as much as we fucking can. For this episode, we're talking about the Overwatch 2 beta. Now, for anyone that knows us, everyone here is pretty much really big into Overwatch. We've all played a lot of it. We've played it on different systems. I've played it just about every system fucking imaginable. If it comes to mobile, I'll probably fucking play it on there. But Overwatch 2 beta dropped, I want to say on June 26th, 28th, something like that. Or that's when the beta dropped. Obviously, you had to buy the Watch Point pack to get automatic access to it. You could also just apply for access, and you would get it over time, hopefully. To give you an idea of how big of a difference that was, though, I got my invitation even after buying the pack. I got my invitation on day 2 of the beta. Thacker and Matt got theirs like last week.
Mine was gifted to me, and it was the beta from the 28th of June, and it ended the 18th of July.
I thought it ended on the 20th. Okay, fair enough.
Mine was gifted to me literally like a week after the beta opened.
But yeah, that's how random the invites to the beta were. Is that you could either get them immediately, or you might get them where, hey, you've got 3 days to play it.
Yeah, I'm so mad about that.
But it's funny how pointless the emails were once you buy the Watch Point pack. But let's talk about the Overwatch 2 beta, because this is a very different game from the first one. Mm-hmm. It is not just Overwatch reskinned, LOL skins. It's not just that repackaged and slightly updated graphically. It plays very differently from Overwatch. There are some things that remain the same, like a lot of the heroes. A lot of them have skills that are the same. One character we've all fucking played is Lucio, and he's pretty much the same as he is in Overwatch 1, which is good because he's simple to play. Soldier 76 is pretty similar.
Orisa changed.
But the changes, and Orisa is one that I think we could start with. The changed heroes were changed. They were changed in big ways. And there were even more changes, like Mora got changes.
Really?
She got changes over the course of the beta.
Really?
So she was not changed right at the start. Matt, I'll start with you because we can start there. She actually her abilities were changed like halfway through the beta.
Yep. The orb that she sends out to drain enemies is no longer in her move pool. Now what it does is that
does it slow them down? Is that what it is?
It slows them down. It reduces how much damage they cause. So, for an example, if you were to use that on a Reaper as he was ulting, you could prevent him from getting 80 kills with his
which
ult.
is nasty if you play it right.
Exactly. Yeah. That goes for just about any character's ult. If you properly can use Mora's new ability, you can prevent team kills from those ults.
So she still has her phasing out, though, right?
She still has phasing out.
Okay. See, that's really interesting as a Mora main for support. That brings a lot more.
I feel like a big part of this, and y'all tell me. I feel like a big part of this was to kind of put the more emphasis on her support aspects, because a lot of people pick Mora and love to play like DPS.
They're trying to play her DPS,
and I feel like the point of this is to put that emphasis back on support.
Yeah, I can see that. I did like at the beginning of the beta with Mora, though, her damage orb actually healed her.
Yeah,
just like if you were using her for DPS normally. Yeah. But her orb then had the healing ability as well.
Yeah.
That was an interesting touch for me.
I think some of the big changes, I think the two that are they got really big reworks. Obviously, Doomfist he's the elephant in the room because he's gone from being a DPS to being a tank, which is low-key kind of broken. Bastion also got a big rework. He can now move in turret mode.
But on a timer.
On a timer, which...
There was some balancing.
There's parts of it that can be broken, but it was balanced a little bit. I'm sure it'll be balanced even more at launch. Orisa, as you mentioned, no longer has a shield. Instead, she can deflect shots or deflect damage back at the enemy team. She also has a spear now, and her ult is completely different. Whereas Doomfist's ult is still the same. Bastion's ult, incredibly different as well. He turns into a mortar that can fire off 3 big mortar shots. Thacker, you mentioned Orisa. Just talk about that rework, because that was probably my favorite rework in the entire beta.
So Arissa's rework was super interesting. Not only her skin redone to give it more of this warrior feel, but also to play off of that was incredible. The spear aspect, not only being to use it to spin it and reflect damage, but also to be able to throw it like a javelin or exactly what it is. A spear is just incredible, and the damage it does is ridiculous.
Yes.
I do feel like us now only having two shield tanks, being Sigma and Rhine.
There's a lot of diversity now.
There's a lot of diversity, and Arissa's ult. Mm-hmm. I did like the damage buff that we had in Overwatch 1.
Love how it pulls characters, like pulls enemies in as well.
That's what I was about to say.
Love that
I love how instead of us having the damage buff, we now have this like gravitational orb that Zarya usually has.
Yeah.
And it brings in the difference. Zarya was another one that actually got a rework. And I absolutely love her rework as a Zarya main.
Yeah.
Like, it was brilliant.
I agree.
I think that one of the most interesting changes that they made was moving it from 6-on-6 to 5v5.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, only having one tank really forces you to kind of think about who you're picking, because you can't just, in Overwatch, it's always been, obviously team-based around, you want to kind of have a good setup on your team, but with you only having one tank, you really got to choose, carefully, because, unfortunately, the 100% pick rate is on Junker Queen.
Yeah.
Because she is just broken as all hell.
She and Sojourn both, the two new heroes, they are both
That brings
broken.
up an interesting point. Does anyone really feel like Junker Queen is a tank? Because I feel like she's more of a DPS.
I think she's a tank. Here's why. Her ult does exactly what a tank is supposed to do. It creates an opening.
Yeah.
So when she does her ult, I think it's called Rampage. Is that?
Yeah.
It's called. Yeah. So she spins like her blade around and does this, forward charge, and any enemy that she comes in close contact with, I think that the contact rate on it is fucking absurd. How far away she can be from you and still get you.
Yeah, they get.
You get hit with bleed effect and you can't heal for like a full 10 seconds.
Yeah.
So it creates openings.
Is pretty interesting. Now.
The bleed effect's interesting. I like that. And then on Sojourn's side, she's just able to put out so much damage at once that it's absurd. Like, you can rack up 40, 50 kills in one match.
Yeah. You and I made the joke when we first started.
She's getting nerfed.
She's getting nerfed, but she is now the new Call of Duty character for
she
this
is.
game.
Like
originally it was Soldier,
and
now it's
this is you getting into this game and you've only played Call of Duty, you've only played Battlefield, you're gonna play Sojourn or Soldier.
Yeah.
And they're good characters. Like, the thing is, she is definitely getting nerfed before the main the full release. Junker Queen is definitely getting nerfed as well.
Yep.
I don't know how I feel about Doomfist having as much health as he does at the tank. I get why he does now, but I think his speed needs to be lowered. That's where I come in on that.
I don't think it's his speed. I think his mobility.
That's speed. Mobility is how fast you move.
Fair. As you say in journalism.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Yeah, but I think that's one thing I would like to change. I think that the reason, because we all wondered kind of the whole time, like, why go to just one shield tank or one tank period. I think this is to encourage more team play. Because that's one thing I actually saw a lot in playing this was, okay, people are starting to actually play this team. Now, as we got further into the beta, people started getting sweaty and started saying, I just want to get my kills. I don't care about winning. I don't give a shit about none of that. Like, as you get further into the beta, we saw that, and obviously that's where we all kind of just took a break from the beta and stopped. Because I think we all probably played at least like 10 hours of the beta.
Yeah.
We played a fair amount.
More.
We played a fair amount of the beta. I think that it was done to encourage more team play. It's why some of these reworks happen as well. Because Orisa, for example, doesn't have a shield, but now if you're on attack, she's more viable offensively. Mm-hmm. Whereas before, she's more defensive oriented. Now you can push forward with her. You can create openings with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I like that. I think that a lot of the characters that stayed the same, though, I think I think that they stayed the same, and it's a good thing they did. Like, I don't think Reinhardt really needed any changes.
No.
Don't think Roadhog really needed any big changes. Junkrat didn't need any big changes.
I think the
Reaper's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
I think the only change I would like to see to a character would be Mercy getting her all res back.
I thought that was always broken. When I've looked up and seen it, it always has looked broken to me.
True, but I mean, it's just one I would like to see come back.
May is still broken as fuck.
Yeah.
May is still
I still hate the ice walls.
An annoyingly broken character. If you're one of those players out there, by the way, you're playing as May, and the first thing you do when the match starts is you ice wall the fucking entrance to get into the map.
Go.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
That's the nice way to put it.
Like, I will leave the game and abandon you. I don't care. One thing that did stick out negatively to me, and it's not necessarily, I don't think it was a game issue more so than it was a beta issue, the wait times for every role not named support.
Yeah.
God.
See, I had a different issue.
You had to wait for tank. I've never seen the wait time on Overwatch. I've never seen it say over 10 minutes. It's always typically less than 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Yep.
This said more than 10 minutes. And I was like, for tank?
Yep.
And I know it's because of Junker Queen. I know that's why. In fact, the joke that me and Matt made up was, we're playing support. Oh, there's a Sojourn. Where's the Junker Queen? We know she's coming. There she is. we knew, like every single match had one of those seemingly, which is why, like when we would all play and one of us was in those roles, it was refreshing to see someone pick someone else.
Yeah.
But the wait times were absurd, man. I think to play DPS, you waited one time for like 25 minutes.
I waited, the longest I've ever waited for a game in Overwatch 2 beta was right before I went to Vegas. It was 33 minutes.
That is absurd. And the thing is, what worries me is this is a beta that not everybody has access to.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
What's going to happen when the full game launches and all of a sudden the servers are full? What's going to
fully flooded at that?
And with it being free to play, on top of that,
you're going to have a bunch of new players.
Overwatch is becoming Overwatch 2, so people with Overwatch 1, where they still boot up the game, will automatically be Overwatch 2. So they got to get it ready, especially as more new characters get introduced.
Yeah.
Wait times are going to get longer.
Yeah, that worries me, and that's something that I don't know if there's an easy fix to that. I really don't think there is. I don't know if they quite imagined how many people would buy the Watchpoint pack. A lot of people clearly did.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people probably did also get access the normal way because, I mean, not everybody just wants to drop $40 for a beta, essentially, is what you're dropping. Like, you get the other stuff at launch, but that's in October. So, I don't know. I think that worries me a little bit. Thacker, you mentioned having another issue. What did you not like?
I feel like it was more of a, beta issue more than anything else. But the crashes, I feel like with it being so,
I didn't actually have any crashes. That's crazy.
Most of my crashes actually came from you and me gaming.
That's weird.
And it was literally because you and I are very vocal in chat.
You're talking about like the chat being disabled.
Yeah. Not only that, but like as soon as I would go to type something in, if
chat disabled.
If it got disabled, my entire game would crash to the point where it would take me completely out of the game.
Wow.
Yeah, I think that...
I think that's more of a beta issue than anything else.
I don't know why. I say I don't know why. I get why they don't allow you to say certain things in the chat, but I think at the same time, like, you're online, you're on the internet.
Yeah, you
grow some thick skin.
You could put in a filter for obviously, overly offensive
if
words.
I've got mature selected for all these filters, and you disable my chat, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
You just gotta love it when they come for the healers, even though that.
Yeah, exactly.
In some cases, you saw that the healers did more damage than the DPS.
You brought up my favorite part of the beta, and that's the new scoreboard where you can see what everybody's done. You can see the damage everyone's put up. You can see the healing. You can see how much damage they've mitigated, which is basically just blocking, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, you can see all of it now.
So when somebody says, hey, healers, y'all aren't doing shit, and you and somebody else have combined for 25,000 heals, you can turn around and be like, look at the numbers, you dumbass. Look at the numbers. Clearly you don't know how to read.
Like, slow down, jackass.
Slow down, jackass. And then, I think the funniest moment I had was, so I healed, I was playing as Lucio. and I healed for like 12,000 damage, and they tried to say that I didn't do anything. I went on and looked. They did 8,000 damage. As Lucio, I did 9,500. I said, more like you didn't hold up your end of the bargain, shitbag.
Damn.
All right, yeah, but it's like, again, like, if I've got mature filter selected, which is just basically for cussing, obviously we all cuss like sailors. It's no secret.
Yeah.
Like, why is the chat being disabled at that point? I also hate players that are like, don't be toxic. I'm like, they fucking started it. I didn't do shit. The fuck? I didn't do anything. I just ended it. I just ended the fight.
I was quiet until they said something.
When it comes to chats on there, I am quiet until someone says something to me. You start spamming for healing, I'm literally just gonna stop healing you.
Yep. Especially like that. Especially Genji's.
Genji's are the worst. Genji's another one. Didn't really get like a huge rework, but one other thing I did like, and I think you brought this up. I like how every character's gotten out, 2 classical skins.
Yeah,
you've got like an updated look for this game as well.
Yeah, it was pretty cool how they, they were kind of showing that this looks like a new game, because my biggest fear was that this was literally just going to be the same game with new skins, and I really like that you start out and that they have updated looks, and so it kind of gives you a little bit more immersion of I'm not just playing Overwatch. I think I am most excited to see how the campaign works. Yeah. I was kind of bummed that we didn't get like at least a demo of the campaign or like any kind, because we don't have any information.
But I think it's going to be a big surprise too, though.
Yeah. I actually disagree. I'm rather on the side of the surprise.
I really hope it's good, because it's going to be very different how you can like upgrade your characters and get new abilities. I think that's so interesting. I really would like to see, if characters have different abilities in the campaign, could you possibly give them different ults or different abilities?
I was just thinking like that. What if you could somehow like do Bastion's ult with like fucking Symmetra or something?
Yeah, or like if cool. Like say if Bastion had 2 or 3 different ults and you could choose from one. You have to go into the game with that one. That's the only one you can use in the game. But you essentially have like a Bastion loadout. So not everybody who plays Bastion is going to have the same moves. Yeah. It would really change up the gameplay a lot, and that's something I would really like to see.
And if you change their ults in this, what if one of your options was you could have the ult from the first game?
That would be cool.
That'd be an interesting.
Like it's all obviously it's all speculation. Obviously, we're all just speculating. But I mean, we really don't know what the rest of this game is going to look like. So there's still a lot of mystery around it. But this was a solid beta. The other huge change that needs to be talked about, and I know that I think this is going to this is either going to win a lot of players over or it's going to fight off a lot of new people. The switch on quick play to more comp style or more competitive style game design, where instead of it being you either play attack or defense, you now play both.
Yeah,
you may start on defend to where you hold off the attacking group. And if you hold them off successfully, you then take over his attack. But if they say they get to the very end, well, now you take over his attack. You have to get to the very end just to force overtime, and then you go into an overtime period. What did we think about that swap to more comp style play?
I enjoyed it. That with the new game modes and everything, it was a lot more fun. Wow, that's good English. It was a lot more fun because you actually had more of
like an opportunity,
playtime.
Yeah,
if anything.
Yeah,
like it actually made these games feel like it was worth waiting that 10 minutes to get into a game.
Yeah,
because you actually got to have a good amount of time to play.
And I like that it kind of gives you like a second chance almost, because like even if the first team just completely fucks you, you can come back. If all you have to say, if they're moving the robot, if they get it there in 2 minutes, you just got to make it in a minute 59. You can make it in a minute 59 and force that overtime. You can come back from that, and it's kind of cool because sometimes you get in games and you just get dicked. But in the first game, you get paired up with a bad team. It's that one game, and then it's an L. In this, you can try to come back even if you just get completely floored. Now it's probably not possible, but I mean, we had a game where we got fucked the whole first round, and in the second round we actually came back and won. And
we steamrolled.
Yeah,
figured it out from there.
I really enjoy that because it's not just a constant I'm just taking L's over and over because it's just one round and I have to win that round or it's over.
It's very balanced.
Yes.
I think one thing, Matt, you brought up, I like this. It really it teaches you to prioritize learning new characters.
Yes, it does.
Because there are characters that are great at attack and there's characters that are great at defense. There's some that are good at both, but not a lot. So it's one of those that we got to the point where I can't remember who we were. I think we were running Zenny and Brig as supports for defense, and then we were running Mora and Lucio for attack. And I like that. Again, it's that, it teaches you to play different characters and play more strategically. I really like that aspect of it.
I just want to add on to the whole subject here is I think that for veteran Overwatch players and ones who have been playing for a while, that this is very beneficial to them because we're used to how competitive it is. I think to more casual or new Overwatch players that this might actually be something that they don't.
Again, it's hit or miss.
Like that much exactly.
It's hit or miss.
But I mean, it's like what Kyle said. It does give you the chance to make that comeback because you can have a really bad game, but then the next thing you can have a really good game.
Yeah. Again, it's not just you're not just getting steamrolled in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Like Overwatch 1, it kind of is susceptible to that. Where you can go on a long winning streak. You can very easily play 10 games in a row where you're in the game for a minute and a half because your team just plays like crap. It's
because they're more worried about kills.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the thing. It's a team-based game, and if your whole team is not playing as a team, if you got one bad teammate who's just playing for kills, that can screw you over. It just takes one player to do that.
Especially as a support player too.
I would say even as a DPS, man, if you've got a DPS that's not really playing with the team, it's hard. Same with a tank. If you're playing as a Ryan and you're being all aggressive and you're not shielding, it's impossible to advance at that point.
Yeah.
I think that also the new maps. Really like some of the new maps. Coliseum was one of my favorite ones. The robot one. The robot game, move the robot game mode, awesome. Basically, just tug of war, awesome game mode.
Yeah,
absolutely loved that. Where you try to take control of the robot, you move it to a certain point, and then the enemy team has to essentially keep you off of it to then where they have to then take the robot from where you moved it all the way back to their wall to start moving it, and it becomes again that game of tug of war where even if you take a big lead early, it's very possible for you to still lose.
Yeah.
It's very possible for you to still find a way to lose if the other team starts countering what you're doing.
Yeah.
Loved the Midtown map is another one I loved. Move the payload is still a really good game mode. Point capture is still a really good one.
Yeah.
I think that all of the classic game modes still really work well, and I think that Move the Robot is a great addition to this to freshen it up because you're not just playing move the payload every single game like an Overwatch. I felt like you are.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I really like how we're talking about how you get attacked your first time, and you can have a really good team set up for attack, but then when the round ends, you got to switch to defense, and you can't just you probably won't be going up against the same team that you went up against on attack because, like Rusty said, there's some characters that are really good at attack. There are some characters that are really good at defense, and so it kind of changes up that gameplay when it forces you to swap. Yeah. You can't just steamroll them again because you might play as the same team and just get completely fucked because they're not good at defense. I really like that. I really enjoy the fact that like we were talking about, it forces you to really learn other players. Otherwise, you're probably not going to get a lot of wins.
Yeah, honestly. Not only with the new maps, but I like how they redid some of the old maps as well.
Yeah. The updated looks. Yeah,
some of those maps I'm so used to seeing at night, and seeing them in daytime really just brings a new perspective to the game.
It's so cool.
Like seeing, I can't remember the Egyptian map. I think it is.
Seeing Hollywood at night.
Seeing Hollywood at night was different, man. Anubis, Tomb of Anubis. Seeing that at night, that's different.
What about the place with all the pinatas?
El Dorado, was it Dorado?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that one.
Seeing that in the daytime is crazy.
It's trippy. It's very trippy. And I think the crazy thing is the one that stuck out to me in terms of I like how they kind of changed the colors around a little bit. I really like Junkertown. I really like changing the colors a little bit, changing how it looks a little. It looks good. It stays faithful to the old map, but it still looks really good. I think this is a really solid beta, and I think that they made a lot of really good improvements here.
It makes those minute details really pop.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I do remember hearing something about how Blizzard wanted to integrate dynamic weather into the maps.
That would be interesting.
That
Awesome.
would be cool.
If you,
So
you
they
get on
can
one of these
see
maps and
the
there's
snow
rain,
stuff.
that'd be
Yeah.
awesome.
Or snow or something.
Well, the
like that.
snow. I
Yeah.
can't remember what the name of the snow map was. It was like the one with like the subway in the middle where it was Move the Robot. That was another one of maps that stood out
That
to
was
me.
interesting.
Coliseo was probably my favorite. The one that was the first one I think I played Move the Robot on. I loved that map. That was fantastic.
It would be, I think, really interesting for them to add weather like that because it would kind of really change the gameplay for characters like Mercy who, are in the air. What if, it's storming and you cannot see as good, or if it's snowing and you're in a blizzard, you can't see what's going on as much on the ground, or, you can only see 5 to 10 feet in front of you instead of, trying to snipe from across the map. I think that would really change the gameplay to
Especially
force
with like Widow.
that would
Yes.
that would actually make Widow's ult useful.
And it would be so dope to really force that close combat because you have to be within 5 or 10 feet to see each other because of the storm. And also, it would be a lot easier to flank because you can't just see, there's a character going over there, let me just snipe him from across the map. It would really, really change the gameplay so much just to add... And, even if it was just foggy, if they just added fog and made you walk through this fog, that would be so awesome because it really gives you that suspense. You don't know where these characters are. You might get sniped from somewhere. You might be able to snipe somebody from somewhere. I would really like to see them add that.
Rusty said it best. It honestly would make Widow's ult relevant.
Yes.
It would. One thing I've kind of thought recently, I think that one thing that, maybe not in every game mode, I would contemplate, I think I would entertain the idea, what if they went kind of like Titanfall style and added bots into some of these matches randomly.
That would be
bots cool. In addition to all the players. Added just AI controlled enemies. Each team gets some.
Yeah.
To where they're another aspect of the gameplay again, just to change up the flow of gameplay. There's so much they can do creatively after I think all the feedback they've received from this beta. There's so much they can do creatively to really change the flow of gameplay and make this a real heavy hitter. I mean, the first Overwatch, I'm pretty sure won Game of the year it came out.
It did, yeah.
It was, I think that, we've talked a lot about Elden Ring. We talk a lot about God of War Ragnarok, and we will talk a lot about that when it drops.
Yes.
Last of Us Part 1 obviously still has to come out. There's a lot of great games that have come out this year. There's no reason Overwatch 2 couldn't compete with that.
Yeah.
There is no reason at all Overwatch 2 couldn't. If It Takes Two can win Game of the Year last year, there is no reason at all Overwatch 2 couldn't compete for it this year, in my opinion.
Especially with, Overwatch 1 just being a multiplayer
Just a pure multiplayer shooter.
This, most people are going to be playing this for the multiplayer, but the campaign as well. That's something I think I am personally more excited for than the multiplayer because I really want to see more in-depth, background and emotion and different, sides to these characters because I feel like in battle you kind of, they're one-dimensional. You don't have outside of the cutscenes that you can look up on YouTube or,
Which the animations are really good. I think Blizzard does a good job with those.
I'm excited to see a full campaign with beautiful animation, with hard-hitting story elements, and
We've never seen these characters interact that much, too. Yes. That's the thing.
Outside of the small cutscenes.
Yeah, we've seen he's now known as Cassidy, obviously for obvious reasons. We've seen Cassidy and Ash interact. We've seen Winston, May, and Tracer react in that the short that was released to announce Overwatch 2, and we obviously saw all the throwback characters that were included as well. Echo, Ryan, Brig, Mercy, Genji. We saw all that. But we haven't seen this big group of characters all interact at one time. And I think that's what makes the idea of a campaign really exciting.
Yes.
I proposed an interesting question for you.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What is y'all's thoughts on the Battle Pass versus loot boxes?
I think it depends on the amount of XP. Because if it's an XP grind like fucking Blackout was on Black Ops 4 or Halo Infinite, I'm not going to like it because it's one of those where you're only getting 100 XP per game. That sucks. But if it's your XP from the game carries into the Battle Pass, I think that's
like
good.
What Call of
Duty
does.
Exactly. Like, I think that's worthy. Like, Call of Duty learned from Black Ops 4. They learned from their mistakes in that game, and they've improved on that formula since then. And I think Fortnite's had that formula down pretty much from day one of the Battle Pass.
Yes.
I may not love Fortnite, but I will give them credit. They have figured out what the fuck works.
Yeah.
So
I am only worried about, with most games that have battle passes, they do challenges.
yeah,
These challenges,
like headshot challenges, and
these
stuff like that.
challenges need to be team based. There needs to be 0 kill challenges, because all you're gonna do is you're just gonna force everybody to say, "Fuck my team, I'm gonna go for kills because I'm trying to get to tier 100 of the battle pass before everybody else." And
I feel like unless there's a stipulation where group team.
yeah, like
if it's how many kills as a team do you get?
yeah, like that would be, or like it should be, if you're playing as DPS, you should get a certain amount of damage, or if you're playing as heals, you should get a certain amount of heals. Things to, or spend a certain amount of time on the objective, win a certain amount of games. That would be okay. I think that if it's like you need to get 50 kills to complete this challenge, nobody's gonna play the objective, and that's what this game is about. It's about playing the objective as a team, and that's the only thing that worries me. I am actually more excited about the Battle Pass than the loot boxes because I know what I'm going to get. I'm not grinding for hours to get a fuck ton of fucking duplicates. I'd be pissed if I just spent, all these credits on loot boxes just to get nothing but legendary duplicates, because that's trash. With the Battle Pass,
you know what you're getting.
As long as it's
it's really not even gambling at that point.
Yeah, it's just got to be well balanced. The XP, the challenges, and the time limit. Don't make it a 30-day Battle Pass. That's stupid. Make it 60 to 90 days. That way people have time to play this game and actually get to tier 100. I don't like when they do the month by month, because also it feels like you're just trying to cram too much in. You're trying to make somebody complete 100 tier battle pass in 30 days.
You gotta let the game breathe a little bit.
Fortnite and Call of Duty have their battle passes at like 60 to 90 days, because they understand that. The other thing, and Matt, I know you spent some time playing Fortnite and everything.
Did.
I want to know if you think if Blizzard's going to try to pull some BS like when Epic did for your campaign to actually be paid for.
For your campaign to be paid for.
Mm-hmm.
So the campaign's not free, but the multiplayer is.
Yes, because that's what Epic did with
you're
Fortnite.
You're talking about the campaign for Fortnite. This is. I don't think they're charging.
I hope not.
For PR purposes, with everything they're dealing with, I hope not.
Honestly, Blizzard's really not in a state to where that they can really do that. They can pull that out. Plus, on top of that, there were people who bought the $40 pack so they could play the beta. So in a sense, we technically are.
We paid $40 for the game,
basically.
If
they want to charge for a campaign, then we've already paid like $40 towards it, even though we already own the base game.
I think making the game free to play is the biggest win.
I agree.
Yes.
that Blizzard has, because I think that's going to get a lot of new players in, and I think that's a big thing. Multiplayer games. Obviously, they need the servers to be able to handle it, and and Blizzard's got money, so there's no excuses.
Yeah.
So I think as long as they have the servers to handle it, I think more players is always a good thing. Having a larger player pool is always a good thing.
Yeah.
Because it makes finding a match much easier. So that is the Overwatch 2 beta, though. I think we can all agree, very positive experience with this beta. This was a good beta. I think there's a lot of things they're gonna get feedback on. It's going to be improved. It's going to be better. I think come October 4th, I think this is going to be a really solid game that's going to live for quite a while like the first Overwatch did. So that's going to do it for this episode of Side Mission. Follow all of us on Twitter if you'd like. We're all different levels of annoying. Kyle's political, Matt and Thacker are nerds, and I'm sports. So we're different levels of annoying on there. You can also follow the Side Mission Twitter at Side Mission Pod. For the boys, Kyle, Thacker, Matt, I'm Rusty Ellis. Thank you for listening.